Okay, here's a quick track guide for Concord Speedway. This is Season 1, Week 11, 2020 for the Asphalt Sprint Car, the iRacing Sprint Car Cup Series. Our SOFs are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 o'clock or 1 o'clock GMT time. Um, Concord is notably one of the tougher tracks on the schedule. It's a half mile. It doesn't really race like a half mile. It started off as a 4/10 mile track, and it's my personal opinion. It's actually under a half mile, or was. It's now Lost Speedway. It's free content, our last free content track of the season for season 1, but it's a tough track. It's probably right up there with past tracks that we raced like Bristol, Dover, Phoenix, just to name a few on that spectrum. It's a tough track, but it's a fun track as well once you learn it. A lot of people struggle here, and I'm going to try to do this so I can help you. Um, Sometimes it's just because you don't know where to go if you're getting lapped. Sometimes you don't know where the line is, if you should run low or high in certain spots, or how fast you want to run this place. This is a bad fast track because of the amount of high speed there is between the dogleg and the banking in 1 and 2. It's 3 corner track. Races a lot more like 3. iRacing counts as 5, but it's 3. Anyway, next thing on pit road, I'm using the default set, no changes, qualifying trim. When you put the race trim, lower it by 2. Exiting pit road, stay, get merge out, yellow line to black. Easy on the throttle here. This track gets really slick, it's really bumpy. Going into turn 1, lift at the guardrails, cut it low, keep it low. Dog leg, exit the dog leg to the bump, lift early. Be really easy on the throttle. You can get maybe a tab wide open on the front straight if you're really lucky, but you don't want to go too long because you don't want to throw your tires in way too low. The tires come up with temperature. I do tap the brakes on entry just to set the nose. I don't see entry there, big time. Driving way too hard. You don't want to run qualifying trim and race. It'll be fast and short run like the first 20 or so laps, but it'll be dead long run towards the base. You have to remember also it gets really loose here, especially when the cloud cover comes in, puts the track off. This track is really sketchy in spots. It was. There's a lot of speed right now. I'm going to do a couple fly laps here and I'll switch to racing. Top 10 lap run, 15 lap run. Exiting, entering pit road, exit 2, get slowed down after you exit 2, stay low, don't wreck anyone if you're trying to pit. You shouldn't pit here, no pit stops in these races usually, if ever. Only time I've seen a pit stop even used was Phoenix one time really, and it worked. So the races are short enough to where you don't need to pit. Now we want to focus on race trim. The default sets is what I'm using right now. They're race proven. They're developed by Dan Smith and Jason Brown, who are regulars of the series. Dan's been quite the fastest competitor this season, alongside Ryan and Steven, and does a great job with the sets. So for race trim, we're in qualifying right now. I tend to recommend lower 2 pounds on each tire. Sometimes you might want to lower that right front a little bit. It'll be more tighter if you have that hotter right front or the bigger right front. I also recommend personally, this is a personal opinion here, I always lower front brake bias to 50. I tend to struggle with 51. That's just me personally. But yeah, that's what I'd recommend changing the start. Now, if you're struggling, if you're too loose, add cross weight. If you're struggling on throttle, add some bump stiffness in the rear. You know, a couple clicks, just try things. If you're struggling with it plowing, lower stagger in the front, raise stagger in the rear, and you could also try lowering the rebound in the left front or the bump in the right front, in the fronts in general, that type of deal. I also recommend using, sometimes I usually tend to run a really low steering box personally, but I'll leave this default. That's more personal preference on that type of stuff up here. Usually in this car, setups don't really matter as far as being competitive, like crazy competitive. It's more about getting comfortable in the car and finding how you want to drive the car with the setup in your own way. If you like a loose car, you're going to be better with a loose car. If you like a tight car, you're going to be better tight. The biggest thing here in this car is being comfortable. The same thing with this track. It's always about comfort with this track. So anyway, there's race trim. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do about 15 laps around. I'm going to do it quietly. I'll also show the outside line just to show it. Once again, exiting pit, you can't see it. Merge after the white, the yellow line. It's going to be easy on the throttle, getting up to speed. Be really loose the first couple laps. If you do see me get wide open, it's probably because I'm overdriving it. Heads up. You don't want to be wide open here whatsoever. Really loose dog leg, just be careful on the throttle. Doing how to overdrive this track. It's getting a little tight off. Hard to keep it up low. Overdriving that like crazy. I'm paying attention. No lap. My apologies. Couple more laps here. Main key though is just try to be consistent. You know, if you're trying to gun for 13.9s, 13.8s, which is world record type of speed here, faster. Want to take it easy. Don't mind it hitting the chip. Hitting the chip is a good thing for this car. Like I just did off our speed. Very easy to do. It gets really loose. So, if you are loose, here's what I'd do. One of the couple things I would do just to show. Lower your stagger, add cross weight, take out rear tread bar, add bump in the rear. Just examples there. Go on board here. Also, if you want, want these camera files, I can share them with you at any point if you want them. I made these custom, so we're on board here now. Anything you just want to make sure is taking it easy here. That's the biggest key. Alright, I hope this helps.